Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and Disney Lorcana, and why the Dungeons and Dragons D&D canon hardback is so critical and so important to society, and why it is a societal good to continue to print the physical D&D canon hardback. All right, let's get into this. Every month, actually. 3 to 6 times a year, I buy the D&D canon hardback that drops, right? And it's not easy. I buy the digital and physical bundle, right? And as long as I order within 5 days before the digital pre-release, it's always available, and I always receive my physical hardback book, right? The product is not difficult to get. Now, why is that? Well, I can tell you why. Only smart people are getting them. No one who is dumb orders a D&D canon hardback. And the reason why is dumb people don't buy 256-page rule books to read. It just doesn't happen, right? So it is, and the reality is those D&D canon hardbacks are printed, distributed, released for the most charismatic, confident, intelligent people in the world. And it's very important that that continues to happen. And the reason why those books are easy to get is because people aren't lining up to read, right? And by the way, when I get a D&D canon hardback, it's a challenge to me to say, sit down, read this book, right? And I do, and I enjoy them, and they are extremely good. And not only do they deliver a good adventure and some spicy action and some cool characters, right? But it's also part of Dungeons & Dragons history. It tells me where Dungeons & Dragons is going, right? And so I spend the time, I read them, and I use them, right? Now, recently I got very excited about Disney Lorcana, and I did great buying into Disney Lorcana. I told a friend of mine, get this, and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. You told me to buy Keyforge, and that didn't work. So, pshaw. Right? But now they can't get it, right? So I was right. And one of my other friends heeded my advice and is now sitting on a sealed box of Disney Lorcana that does nothing but go up, right? And the reality is, I have Disney Lorcana. I enjoy Disney Lorcana. I play it as a TCG, and I play it as a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, right? And I use the cards as UNBOUND parts of D&D lore, because that's what Disney Lorcana is. It's a massive copy of Magic the Gathering, which is canon to Dungeons & Dragons, right? So skippity scoop scop Lorcana directly to D&D, right? But here's the issue. Disney Lorcana has reached a point at this point where it is a myth. I saw it in the first week and a half after release in, I think, September, right? In September. And maybe late August, right? And I haven't seen it on the shelves anywhere since. Ever. Nowhere, right? And the charactersheet.com, go look at their channel, and they're like, hey everybody, don't you dare buy Disney Lorcana at $250 a box this weekend, because it'll be coming out in huge print runs and it'll be readily available, right? And I'm like, if you listen to them, you were a fool, right? Because people are begging to buy. People would do things they shouldn't do to buy Disney Lorcana at $250 a box right now, because you cannot get it anywhere at $250 a box, and you cannot find it on any store shelf anywhere. I am struggling to make pre-releases for the existing announced Rise of the Floodborn, right, at my FLGS. They will not take my pre-order or anyone else's, right, because they don't know their allocation, right? And so the reality is, it's easy to make these collectible products, right, that are a fantastic business model, but are outrageously frustrating for the consumer, right? And so the fact that the D&D canon hardback is real, a product you can actually find on the shelf, a product you can actually buy, a product you can actually pre-order, cannot be taken for granted, right? Because the reality is what Ravensburger is doing. Oh, and they're just like, oh, hey everybody, we're gonna do a release for holiday. Who cares? There's 10,000 scalpers ready to sweep up every bit of product all over the country at the given moment. That announcement of Disney Lorcana cards, they told me it was coming to my local Target, right? I walked in the day after release, and the Target employee told me 20 people showed up day one, and it was off the shelves in 30 seconds. Everything they had, right? So the reality is Disney Lorcana is the concept of a product, but not a real product. And I will tell you right now, I think the demand for the next release that will come in holiday 2023, it's vapors and mist. Nothing real. If you play this game, if you play Disney Lorcana and you want to use it in your next Dungeons & Dragons campaign, if you want to use it to play the TCG, you can go kick rocks. You'll never get your hands on it. Not if you're a kind, moral person. If you're an outrageous, blood-drinking scalper, like, I know you're going to get it, right? And so the reality is, I'm just really, really thankful that my D&D product is not captured, right, under under an avalanche of very sad, very depressing commercial demand, right? And so the D&D canon hardback is real, and it's reliable, and it's reliably made, it's reliably distributed, and it can be reliably read. Disney Lorcana is an amazing product that does not functionally exist if you're a kind, tolerant, patient, moral human being. If you're a blood-sucking scalper, sure. And what's it matter to them? They buy the box, they never open it, they shove it in a closet and flip it a month later, right? And their soul rots, right? My point is, D&D is real. It's viable, right? Disney Lorcana was a good concept that's turned into a nightmare in many ways. Not in every way, but in many ways. And when I sit down and I play it, I enjoy it. But 3 times a week, I was like, I think I would like to buy more of this. I would like to go into a store and just buy 1 pack today to have fun. And you can't. Because Ravensburger has failed to make their product real, tangible, practical, and beautiful, the way Dungeons & Dragons has been able to make their product. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.